Fear lurks where you least expect it. Strange, unsettling things are out there, waiting for the right moment to surface.
What in the world was that?
The unknown is often closer than we think, emerging when we least expect it. What if the people who lost their lives on the road never departed? Perhaps they're still lurking on the highways, haunting the roads in search of victims that could somehow compensate them for their loss. And although you'd think coming across a lost soul is as rare as it gets, perhaps the odds aren't in your favor. We think the scariest thing in the woods is running into a wild animal, but nothing beats the sheer terror of coming across a creature that's impossible to escape. These sounds aren't from a big hungry cat, like we think. If you listen closely, you'll realize only a soul in immense fear could possibly ever make these sounds. And that's everyone's cue to leave. Deep in the woods lurk evil spirits that vow to harm anything and anyone that comes in their path. For the most part, these evil entities were just a myth, but recently, their evil intentions are materializing right in front of our eyes, and they're no less than the devil. Encountering them can be quite dangerous, but let's hope they remain hidden. The Nang Tani is a female spirit that haunts wild trees. It is said that Nang Tani initially strikes as a beautiful figure, but the closer you get, the more haunting her appearance becomes. Someone came across this creature in a Thai forest, and as impossible as it sounds, it looks like the myth of Nang Tani is more than just a story. Struggling to get back into the water, a mermaid was discovered off the coast in Sindh, Pakistan. The mermaid-like creature may look like it means well, but it is believed this myth turned to life, cursed the people who found it, forcing them to live a life of anguish. No wonder we don't hear wholesome stories about mermaids anymore.
There's somebody watching you on the bag. Where?
Even when you think you're alone, you never are, especially when you're deep in a forest. This guy is lucky he was live streaming his exploration trip, because if it weren't for one of his viewers warning him, who knows what would have happened if he hadn't picked up on the shadow and decided to up and go.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
No, o sea, si tiene una y la otra no.
As a team of explorers reached the heart of an abandoned hospital, they encountered a ghostly humanoid, claiming it was an escaped patient. But here's the ticker. The hospital hadn't been in operation for decades. So this is believed to be the spirit of a patient who passed away under mysterious circumstances, clearly hanging on, unable to move on.
Mira, trae líquido rojo. Trae líquido rojo.
What in the world was that?
Our eyes might not be able to show us everything, but our cameras are equipped with the right specs to capture everything, even things that are apparently paranormal. This was captured on a homeowner's camera in Canada, and let's hope they've got their prayer beads out.
What in the world was that?
Well, it's inside now. Tap it on the window out. There.
Yeah.
Top window.
Yeah.
This is what one concerned British neighbor found after hearing the house next door rattle all night long. But this shadowy figure isn't the scariest part. It's finding out that this house has been empty for at least a couple of years. So whatever's inside is definitely not human.
Bottom window. What the hell is going on?
Watch what one homeowner's camera captured. Look closely, and you'll see this is no man walking his dog, but the spirit of one. Its lower half body mysteriously vanishes, as if it was never there. It's entirely possible this spirit doesn't even realize it has lost the battle against life. There's a chilling legend about the Serbian dancing lady. She appears at night, and anyone brave enough to approach her vanishes without a trace. But now, it seems like Mexico might have its own dancing lady, haunting its streets after dark. The question is, will anyone live to tell the tale? Residents of a quiet town spotted this strange figure hovering in the sky. At first, they thought it was a man in need of help, and quickly called rescue services, but they soon realized it might not actually be human at all. A guy with superpowers or something entirely otherworldly. The entire town was left speechless.
Да, вот это ночка, конечно.
Duende are humanoid figures resembling dwarves and gnomes, believed to haunt wooded areas at night. What was once thought to be myth came to life. When a forest explorer had a terrifying face-to-face encounter with these creatures in the dead of night. While duende are typically known for their harmless mischief, you can never be sure of their intentions, so it's best to steer clear of the woods after dark. Exploring abandoned buildings at night seems all fun and games until you come across something you can't explain. And sometimes, that creature means business. As the man tried to hightail it out of there, the creature relentlessly followed him, and the video ended abruptly, leaving us all to wonder what went down in that place. A morning walk is supposed to be peaceful, right? But encountering something like this could change that quickly. In the dim light of the dawn, you can barely make out the creature. Is it a dog? A bipedal creature or something even beyond our imaginations? It stood so still, as if it too was surprised to see a human. Bigfoot has been the subject of human fascination for centuries, with only blurry footage and scattered eyewitness accounts to back it up. But recently, a trail camera in a restricted area caught the giant creature in action, thrashing a hefty tree with sheer strength. If it weren't for that tree, one might claim it was just a person in a costume. Playing around an abandoned place or a forest at night is one thing, but this man went a step ahead and laid down in an empty grave, and it was just a matter of time that something spooky happened. He's lucky the ghost or whatever it was just pulled his shirt and nothing else.
Over there.
Over where?
This is every parent's worst dream, to see their child so close to danger, but no way of finding out what that danger is, even if it's just a man donning a costume. The thought of this happening is stomach-churning, but if it really is a skinwalker, it's best to stay locked in.
Over there.
Over where?
Here.
Este tipo de... No sé. Ay, Diosito Santo, no sé.
The Jinn is an evil entity that is capable of shape-shifting into anything it wants. But on rare occasions, it's possible to entrap the Jinn before its transformation is complete. And this is exactly what's happened here. But hopefully, this Jinn doesn't get to complete its transformation.
Este tipo de... No sé. Ay, Diosito Santo, no sé.
People are all around us, but not all of them are humans, masking themselves as us. Hundreds of aliens live on Earth. You may not recognize them, but occasionally they slip up and reveal their presence. It might look like hyper-flexibility to us, but perhaps this woman really is another being disguising herself as one of us. The forests in Alberta, Canada, have long been marred by the rumors of the elusive Bigfoot, but until now, most have just chalked it off as a myth. But as one biker took a daring route down there, he discovered the monstrous entity isn't as far and hidden as we believe. The kappa is a green, human-like being with webbed hands and feet that emerges from deep ponds to steal the souls of lost children. The kappa's fear has long won in Japanese folklore, but recently, someone drained a pond and discovered a kappa-like creature. As it thrashed around, the folks tried to capture it, but eventually let go. What if dragons were always real, but instead of being extinct, they were cursed to spend the rest of eternity clad in stone? It might sound absurd, but explorers recently unearthed what looks like a petrified dragon egg. Perhaps they'll figure out a way to revive the species, but even then, things could go awry. If you're terrified of lizards, you might want to skip because it looks like these reptilian beings are evolving and will soon be breathing fire. If this was happening in any other body part, we could have said the lizard probably swallowed a light, but a flick of the tail? This has to be something out of this world. Have you ever wondered why we don't get to see mermaids as much as we hear about them? It's because when they do show up, they're mercilessly brought out of the waves onto the shore, and the crowds that find them usually end up not helping them because they're too busy freaking out. So now, mermaids prefer staying deeper and deeper in the ocean. We think elves and goblins are just bedtime stories, but what if these creatures really do exist and have learned how to blend in with us? They occasionally slip up, especially if they're young, but the minute they turn into adults, they're able to mask their true identity and hide who they truly are.
What the hell is this? What the hell is this?
Just a crazy, imaginative creature, right? But perhaps Tinkerbell was always there, but simply doesn't look like the humanoid fairy we think. Maybe all fairies look like that, easily passing off for insects because they know we'll never suspect it.
So if anyone's got a clue...
In a small Thai village, when night falls, a spirit takes over the body of a woman and forces her up a tree. There, the two fight internally. The woman screams to take back her freedom, but the spirit inside her refuses to budge. Now and then, neighbors witness this happening, but are too afraid to do anything.
Oh my gosh! What the heck?
There's a conspiracy theory that states somewhere in the US, an anonymous mad scientist has successfully replicated dinosaur DNA and even grown some of the beasts. It's possible they're being smuggled to a discreet location where they'll grow into adults until they return to reenact Jurassic Park.
Oh my gosh! What the heck?
Deep in the oceans lives a race of terrifying beings that were initially raised by humans, but let go because they began to destroy everything that came into sight. Now and then, they'll surface to the top, clinging to vessels in the hopes of regaining control, but they fail, leaving behind this squelching mass. Doesn't this look like a being that came from a different planet? Although it's just a vampire bat, its appearance alone explains how it can be confused for a different bee being. When the cobras around the world begin to sport hair, that's our cue to believe the world is going in a very, very different direction. This isn't some sort of mutation either, which means we've either got a mad scientist on our hands or a very angry Mother Nature. It's not every day you get to see the mystery of the elusive Bigfoot come to life, but one woman vacationing in Costa Rica noticed a creature lurking just outside her lodge. It seemed to be stalking her every movement, as if deciding whether she's a threat, and thankfully retreated before things got too serious. This might be every homeowner's nightmare. It's one thing to run into a critter this big, but it's an entirely different fear when you run into this bug right inside your home. At this point, it doesn't even matter what kind of insect or arthropod this is, just torch the place down. The angels we dream of don't always appear with wings. They might be keeping an eye on you, burning brighter than ever, while we're unaware of what's going on around us. And then they fall down, unable to hold the burden of their masked existence. A couple of years ago, citizens found an odd creature perched on the Empire State Building. It was believed to be Vagar, the fire-breathing dragon from the Game of Thrones. Perhaps such reptilian monstrosities exist even today, but we never look high enough. Hiking alone in the woods, and that too at night, you're bound to come across a scare or two. But this man got more than he bargained for when suddenly, out of nowhere, he saw this figure lurking in the bushes. It looked like someone's lawn gnome had gone out for a walk. You've heard of haunted towns where things mysteriously vanish without a trace. Well, this clip comes from one of those eerie places. A man's chicken and goat started disappearing into thin air, but no one could explain how until now. Watch closely as a surveillance camera captures something chilling, a shapeshifter in action. Have you felt like someone was following you at night? Now imagine the sheer terror of realizing that your stalker isn't a human at all. After feeling an eerie presence, this man finally mustered up the courage to look back, only to find this ghastly entity staring right back at him. A small Romanian town turned into the scene of a horror movie when a surveillance camera captured something, or someone they didn't recognize. In small towns, everyone knows each other, but this figure spotted in the dead of the night was a stranger. And by the looks of it, with its unnatural gait, it didn't seem human at all.
Figura humanoide, cuerpo, cabeza.
They say trees are prime spots for restless spirits, and we've all heard stories about haunted trees growing up. But I never truly believed it until this clip surfaced online. One moment, something was perched in the tree, and the next, it vanished without a trace. Let's just hope it didn't harbor any malevolent intentions.
Ya no está. Ya no está.
Hellhounds. Mythological creatures said to either guard hell or embody the devil himself are often seen as bad omens. There have been countless rumors of these entities, but no solid evidence until now. This CCTV footage has sparked widespread fear. Could this be a sign of an impending catastrophe? If a human isn't acting like one, then perhaps they aren't one at all. A clip from the VMAs has gone viral, and for good reason. It's not something you see every day. Take a look at this woman with an eerie smile plastered on her face, fixed straight into the camera. A demon? Or maybe a reptilian human? What's your take? They say the building is haunted, but who really believes ghost stories anymore, right? That is, until something eerie like this happens. Imagine solid ground suddenly giving way right beneath you. Looks like the spirits were a bit too eager to make their presence known. One wrong step, and that guy could have been in serious trouble. Something that can make those sounds is definitely not human or even an animal. A family in the US had been hearing those strange noises. One night they finally managed to catch it on camera. This pale humanoid creature was lurking outside their house. And by the looks of it, this creature's repeated visits mean serious business. Skinwalkers, the legendary creatures of myth. Or are they? With so many accounts and eyewitnesses from all around the world, it's hard to deny their existence. This eerie footage captures a pale, crawling figure on all fours, and you have to admit, it's a scene straight out of a nightmare. You'd think a 20-feet-high window would be untouchable, but one resident awoke to find a small footprint on the frosty glass. And here's the scariest part. Not only is it impossible for any human, let alone a child, to angle themselves to make a footprint like this, the woman who lives there doesn't have any children. So whose could it be? A sign of a lost soul? What if Mother Nature was more than just a myth? Perhaps she spent all these decades sleeping, but with the way we've been treating Earth, it looks like she's finally waking up from her deep slumber. Look a little closely, and you'll see a glistening eye, quickly blinking in the lake, almost as if an angry entity is about to get up. Have you ever caught something from the corner of your eye only to find nothing there? Something like that was actually captured on camera. A smoky apparition materialized and disappeared just as quickly. It was so vague. I almost thought I had imagined it. I don't even know what to call this thing. An alien from Mars? A ghost? Or maybe even an undiscovered species? I really hope not. Its form is so strange. You can't even tell where its head is. With its movements, it almost looks like a giant, white, hairy worm. Whatever it is, it's making the woods an even creepier place to be. Hearing creepy noises in the woods at night? That's your cue to leave. But this guy did the exact opposite and found this big bad wolf crouching behind the tall grass. He reported that it looked like a bipedal creature. It seems like Dogman is more than just a myth. Sometimes it's just better not knowing things, because I don't know what those things were. A CCTV camera mounted in the backyard of a house captured these strange white figures hopping along the fence. And if they weren't smoky and ghost-like, you could have said they were rabbits. Looks like aliens have taken over the woods for good. It's one thing knowing that things like this exist, and another to know that it has been taking shelter in your house. A home security camera in North Carolina caught this tiny cryptid sneaking around the front yard and hiding behind a flower pot. They say lawn ornaments come alive at night to follow their evil schemes. Could this be it? El Hombre Bestia, or the Beast Man, is a Peruvian legend that roams in the deep shadows of jungles feared by indigenous tribes. Standing 10 feet tall, the towering creature is coated in thick fur. Its most terrifying feature is its face, sending a chill down the spines of even the bravest of souls. A blend of animal, demonic, and human. Sudden disappearance of goats, chickens, and other animals from a village could only mean one thing. Something sinister is involved. That's when a villager spotted this strange black creature, apparently feeding on something, and they believe it's the mythical chupacabra come to life. Remember, Thing, the creepy hand from the Addams Family. 100 times creepier hands has appeared on the internet, freaking everyone out. Although not as robust as Thing, this one looked sentient, wiggling its fingers slowly. And wait, what's that coming out of the chopped off hand? Roots? Somehow that makes it even creepier. If your house drainage is blocked, then it's probably due to something like this stuck inside. Or at least one homeowner found this weird spindly blob down his drain hole. It's surprising the things Mother Nature has up her sleeve. If I were in his place, I would have just up and left right then and there. You never know who might come knocking at your door at the dead of the night. A family was shocked when they saw this insectoid creature looking into their doorbell camera. I just hope they didn't let that thing inside. Folks, this is your cue to keep all your doors tightly bolted. Perhaps ghosts still retain desires that they had when they were alive? That's the only way to explain this paranormal video, featuring gym instruments moving all on their own. The next time you hear a house is haunted, steer clear of it, especially at night. Or you might encounter a creature that this guy came across. And I don't think any of us would want to know what exactly that entity is. In the Philippines, there's a mental asylum that has long been abandoned, but inside lives the spirit of an old patient who suffered here. It is said the spirit wanders out at night, seeking vengeance from those who wronged it. And if you come across the spirit, you're as good as gone. It's not unusual for animals to behave weirdly, but when they begin to act human, that's when you know the world is spinning in a different direction. Many believe this goat was haunted by an evil spirit, or was cursed by a witch to spend its life like this. Just as the clock struck 1, a home security camera caught onto a slight movement. There, just along the patio, a peculiar creature took motion. It seemed to take cover behind the flower pot and eventually disappeared. Could this be a real-life gnome? At exactly 4:27 a.m., a spooky humanoid creature approached a car in a small village in Romania. It's not easy to chalk this off to a costume because you just know from a glimpse alone, whatever this is, isn't human, no matter what.